Sweet. Meeting, got it. Okay, I think we are live. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure this is coming through. Make sure it's popping up here. Meeting is not streaming live on Facebook. Okay, cool. All right, well, we'll just hope this is actually working because it's been a while, but I think it is. And we are, make sure we're in the right group. All right. Trying to see if it, make sure it pops up. Let me try.
I can get on here and look.
Sounds like it's kind of delayed. Oh, there we go. Yep, we're in. Okay. Cool beans. Okay. Let's see. Do you want to keep the Facebook part up? And you can just mute that though, so you're not like kind of delay, like echoing yourself. Just in case anyone does like comment or something on there, you can actually keep track of that. I'll watch it while you're talking, and vice versa.
Figure out how to.
Let me make sure the volume's off of that too. Okay, cool. All right.
Anyway, I don't see where to watch it.
Is it popping up for you in the Facebook group? Do you see it? It should be popping up at the top of it.
The page. Okay, I see it now.
You see it? Okay, yeah. Make sure you mute that video on Facebook. Sometimes if you once you start talking, you hear yourself and you're like, ah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Awesome, guys. So we are getting started. If anyone pops in and you have any questions throughout this time, we will, if we have a little time, we'll try to do like a little Q&A at the end, just for a few minutes. If you have any questions or anything during the conversation or the talk, go ahead and comment in the actual Facebook, like since you're watching it from there, and we'll get to those at the end, or if we're able to answer them throughout, we'll do that as well. If not, just watch, enjoy, take information, so on and so forth. And then if you have questions thereafter, like if you forget during this presentation, whatever, a coaching module, you can always just shoot us a DM as well. So we'll just get started. We'll try to keep this around 30 minutes so you guys don't get bored, but I promise it's a lot of great information. And again, like I said, it's the one step that I would say 95% of women are missing and honestly have no idea about. They are so misinformed, and you know, the internet just tells them to just constantly cut, and they have no idea what a reverse diet even means. How do you how do you reverse your diet? What does that look like? So we're gonna essentially kind of talk about the benefits, additional benefits from it. You know, what is it? The basic actual like definition of that, what that looks like, signs that you need one. Because again, you can do one, but do you actually need one? When is the time to do it? So on and so forth. We're also gonna do like a little client case study, just show you one of our clients and kind of what that looks like. We'll talk a little bit about different results you can expect from a reverse diet, because obviously not a one size fits all, and you'll recognize that. And then we will, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just the benefits, who needs it, what does it look like, and the current client that actually is going through that or did go through that, and kind of what she got from that. So let's see, where are we starting? Okay, what is a reverse diet? So essentially the easy digestible definition is literally, so if you think about dieting, you think about cutting calories, you think about lowering calories, increasing cardio, and reverse dieting is essentially the same exact thing, or the same thing, but opposite. So we are actually trying to increase our calories. And if you have been doing excessive cardio, we're actually going to bring that cardio rate down to where you're essentially, hopefully eating well over 2,000 calories and you're doing next to zero cardio. If anything, you're just doing like a daily step count between 7,000 to 10,000, whatever is manageable to you. And just having a lot of intention around your workouts, because honestly, a lot of our clients don't get cardio protocols from us. We don't enforce that kind of stuff. It's not needed. Is it beneficial? Can it help? Yes. But in reverse diet, you actually want to bring that down. So that's essentially what a reverse diet is: increasing your calories over a period of time. Again, that depends per client. We have clients that can increase weekly by 100 calories. Sometimes we have to increase by 200 calories, wait 4 to 6 weeks and increase again. It just depends on how their body responds, their history of dieting, how long they've been doing that, where their metabolic rate sits currently, so on and so forth. So again, it's just increasing calories, decreasing cardio to get the metabolic rate up again, get you being able to eat more without the weight gain. So that's essentially what a reverse diet is. So Katie's going to go into like signs to look for, symptoms, I guess you could say also, that you could look for that will help you determine if you need a reverse diet. So if you're not sure, even after this, which you should feel confident whether you need one or not, you can write these questions down and go through them and say, am I doing this? Do I feel this? You know, literally the kind of tangible things that you can do and ask yourself, and then I'll help you determine if you need one. So I'll let Katie kind of go through that.
Yep, thank you. So like Corey said, you cannot be in a diet forever. There's obviously a time and a place where you have to go through a reverse diet. And these are just a few questions you can ask yourself to kind of determine if, okay, yes, it is time for me to stop this diet or deficit or fat loss phase or whatever you're in. And start to, like she said, bring your food and your caloric intake back up and start decreasing cardio. So the number one to ask yourself would just be, are you failing to actually lose weight, even though you're eating very little calories? So if you've been on a diet and your calories have gotten to a point where they're super low, but you're not seeing any of that progress that maybe you were before or that you should be seeing still, that's a really good sign that it's time to enter a reverse diet. Another one is if you are eating miserably low calories and basically starving just to avoid weight gain. So maybe you got the results you wanted, but now you're stuck at that low caloric intake and you don't really know how to start eating more again, or you don't want to eat more again because you're scared that you'll start gaining that weight back that you already lost. A third one would be you have already increased cardio and you're exercising more and more, hoping that it's going to help you burn more calories. As Corey mentioned a second ago, cardio is, yes, it can be beneficial, but it shouldn't be the only thing you're trying to rely upon. And if you are already doing so much activity and you're still not seeing those results, that's just another sign that it's time for a reverse diet. After that, you can ask yourself, do you find yourself cycling between over restricting, where you're kind of cutting out food groups, or you're holding yourself back from eating a bunch of different foods and you're just really, again, on that low calorie diet, but then you find yourself binging and kind of becoming a little more food focused and food obsessed. So you find yourself in a point where you're getting all the downsides of dieting, like being super hungry, being super uncomfortable, but again, you're not getting the actual results that should be coming with that discomfort. Another one would be to just ask yourself, have I done all the things and more, and my results have just stalled? Sometimes dieting is just too stressful on our body, especially if you've been at it for a long enough period of time. The longer you're in a calorie deficit, usually that means the slower results you're going to start getting. And eventually we hit a plateau point where our body has had enough and it just needs to have a reverse diet. You need to start eating more. The other one would be you've hit a weight loss plateau despite hitting your macros consistently for several weeks. And if you are working with a coach, your coach has made those adjustments at that point and you're still not seeing that plateau come to an end. You're not seeing that progress get started again, even though you've been nailing your nutrition, nailing your macros. Again, you've been doing all the things, but you're not seeing results anymore. You can also ask yourself, are you constantly hungry and constantly fighting the urge to overeat and binge? So maybe you're not in that cycle where you're already kind of overly restricting and then finding yourself binging, but you're constantly thinking about it and you feel that nagging at you. That can be another sign that, even if physically you're doing okay, mentally dieting is very hard. And if you're in that restrictive state for too long, eventually your willpower is going to start dropping and you find yourself super food focused. Sorry, I can't speak. Another one to look at is your sleep quality. So if it's about time to start a reverse diet, you'll notice a dip in your sleep quality. You can also notice a huge drop in your energy levels, despite you getting sufficient sleep, drinking all your water, eating all of your calories and hitting your macros. If you're noticing that your sleep quality is starting to drop or your energy levels are seriously declining, those are also signs or symptoms, I guess, that it is time to reverse diet. So like we said before, you cannot diet forever. And a lot of us do eventually. If you try to, you will hit that plateau point. So these are just some important questions to ask yourself if you aren't totally sure if it's time for the reverse diet yet or not. So I will hand it back to Corey. She is going to go
Awesome.
through a client case study to kind of show what all of this looks like from a client's perspective.
Okay, great. Yeah. So yeah, I dropped those questions actually into the comment section so you guys can copy and paste or write this down if you want, but they'll live there. This call will live on the Facebook page, so you can always resort back to that. But let me try to get these pictures up real quick. I'm going to share my screen and show you guys if I'll get it to work. Okay, so give me 1 second, guys. All right. I had this set and I'm not sure where it went. It disappeared. So we're gonna have to do it again real quick. It'll take 2 seconds. Get it to over there. So I'm gonna be showing you our client, Nicole. Maybe. Why is this being so difficult? I never have an issue with this.
I don't know. When I was live, I could not find a button to share my screen.
Well, I can't even get the picture to show up. Hold on 1 second. Come on now, come on. Let me see if I can find a picture they already made. I might be able to. Let's see, where are you? Let me check my trash real quick. I should have had this pulled up. My apologies. Oh, come on now. Okay, well, I'll keep working that picture, but essentially, so I swear I made that picture. I don't know where the hell it went now. I just made it yesterday. And it is missing. All right, like I was saying, I'm going to keep working this, but I'll just keep talking. Is my client Nicole. So she's been with me for going about a year. She'll be, I think she's at 10 months now, which is really awesome. So she actually started with us at 6 months, for 6 months, and then come to 6 months, she, was actually kind of feeling that she was ready to try on her own, but then we kind of had a conversation and she realized she wasn't quite ready. And then I helped her kind of see that longer vision and help her understand that honestly, this is like a lifestyle and like there is no end game. There's no start and then end. There's start and then forever. And that she could get even more results, get further in her journey, get that bigger transformation mentally, mindset, physically, whatever, if she were to continue just even another 6 months. Because we really encourage our clients to stay with for a full year, to be honest, because that's really what it takes, not just for the transformation itself, but for the mindset to really understand what your lifestyle looks like, what this lifestyle for you looks like. So like I said, she's been with us for about 10 months and we took her so she came to us actually about eating, not bad. She was eating a decent amount of calories, like I would say 2,200 calories or so. But again, which is not bad at all. We have a lot of women that come to us significantly under eating. She is more like the 1% that come to us actually eating a decent amount, but she just wasn't eating the right food. She wasn't eating enough protein. She really wasn't working out at all. And she was very inconsistent with her intake. So although that was her average intake, she was very inconsistent with that. So like 1 week she would, 1 day, 1 week she'd be kind of an averaging of like 15, 16, and the next week she was averaging like that higher number. But overall her higher averages they were about 90% of the time. So again, she was kind of, her metabolic rate was just not able to adjust to anything. It was like 1 week you're starving me, the next week you're filling me, so on and so forth. So I'm actually almost done getting these pictures. So we're going to show you, I took her from 1,800 calories to 2,300 calories. And you actually see that her body composition continued to improve and she continued to see results. And I'll kind of walk you through exactly what we did. But let me get these pictures. Technology.
Gotta love it.
Okay. And then we have December. Okay. We're going to work this time. I think so. Okay. Good enough. Okay, sweet.
Got him?
I think so. Yep. All right, awesome. So I'm going to show you guys a transformation, then I'll kind of talk through it, but let me share my screen here. Okay, and is that showing up in the Facebook Live?
Let me see. Mine's a little delayed. Yep.
It is showing up. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so as you guys can see here, so this is where this was actually, we took her through, again, she came to us eating a decent amount of food. So we actually basically kept her at that amount for a significant time. I would say about 4 months, but we just adjusted those macros more. We had her, it increased her protein and focused like more the consistency of the carbs and fat ratio. She actually wasn't focusing on carbs and fats specifically in terms of like a specific number, but we just had her work on those ranges, but really consistency with the protein and consistency within those calories, because that's the most important part. So we actually stuck her there for a few months. And then we actually, within that time, her body composition changed. So her day one pictures, actually, these are not even her day one pictures. She's even further. This is about, again, like 4 or 5 months into her progress. And so essentially we then decided to go into like her first fat loss phase, cutting phase, what we call it. And we dropped her down to about 1,800 calories. It was then that she, through biofeedback and just communication and whatnot, which is we always encourage our clients to do, is just tell us and keep us informed all the time. And again, tracking her biofeedback, which we have all our clients do every single week on their check-ins. So it's like stress, sleep, digestion, energy, menstruation cycle, are you pooping regular, stuff like that. Tracking all that, she determined, okay, she, was ready to eat more food. She was finding herself low energy. She was finding herself wanting to fall off of those numbers more frequently, which means your hunger levels were increasing. And that's causing then stress in her body as well. And it was kind of shifting her mindset back to older habits, which we didn't want. So through that communication, biofeedback, we then, okay, like it's time to reverse diet. So those are questions that she asked herself, the ones that Katie mentioned. She kept an eye on those types of things and communicated with me. So through that, we were like, okay, it's time to reverse diet. So this is 1,800 calories. And again, this is after like maintaining for a little bit. Through that maintenance, we had some good body recomposition. She did lose inches for sure, just through that consistency of protein and working out. She works out like 4 or 5 days a week. And we took her from 1,800 calories to 2,300 calories. Again, these are not even her most recent, because again, we now entered our second fat loss phase after sitting in those 2,300 calories. But this is what happened during her first reverse diet. So you can see her body actually continued to improve and change, because essentially what has happened is, yes, we put her into a fat loss phase and her body did adjust and react, and we got some sort of transformation. But again, you're reducing your energy levels. You're taking those calories away. Her protein did not change. Her protein has been about 120, 130 the entire time, which is good for her. It's the amount that she needs. Some people need more, some people need less, just depends. But again, we're taking the energy away. So what we did again was increase. I think we went from 1,800 calories to 2,300 calories in a matter of, it was kind of slower. Let's see, December. It was about 4 months or so. So it's probably 16 weeks. We went from 18 to 23. And again, some people can increase that over a matter of like 6 weeks. It just depends on the individual. But part of that is just how her body was responding. And the second part was her adherence to those numbers. So again, increasing your food after restricting for so long, it's going to feel really hard to eat more food, especially if you do increase your protein. Again, she was used to the protein intake, wasn't so terrible, but it was just her learning to adjust the food that she was eating and how to get those calories in without feeling super full and feeling miserable by the end of the day, and allowing her body to adjust to that, her metabolic rate to increase, to be able to intake that food with no problem. So week to week, we would just kind of ask the same questions. She would communicate how she was feeling. And then, as long as she had a couple of weeks of adherence to those numbers, we would then increase again, and we would increase. And then we got to about 2,300 calories, and we actually stayed there for a shorter period of time. It wasn't too long. We stayed there for about 6 or so weeks. And then, like I said, because her body responded, some people need to stay at maintenance for a very long time. She didn't really have a terrible dieting history. So we were able to stay there for about 6 to 8 weeks. And then we actually just entered our second fat loss phase. And she's trimming down even more. But you can see, again, the results from her reverse diet. So because her body was depleted of energy, we needed to provide that. And because we provided more energy, her body actually started to say, okay, like, I'm going to keep working even harder for you. You're giving me what I need. You're staying consistent with that protein. Because she had more energy, she was able to go heavier in the gym, therefore getting even better results. So again, this is one of the possibilities of a reverse diet. You have 3 possibilities. So it's your body continues to improve. It continues to build muscle mass and basically recomp, build muscle mass, burn fat. So it's almost just switching positions. As you can see here, so her waistline and abdomen got tighter, came in, waistline shrunk, everything. Legs, significant difference in the legs. You can see just muscle mass growth. And she had the muscle here, but because we, provided her with more consistent energy and food and fuel, and she worked out hard in the gym, basically she shedded this little fat that was here and is showing up the muscle she worked hard for. In the back, you can see really good compositional changes in her waist here as well. And then her glutes are significant too. So you can see kind of how they're lifted, more firm. Again, she's just pushing heavier in the gym, and she's just doing a total body recomp. So that is something that can happen during a reverse diet. And that's why it is so important to go through them properly, do them with someone that knows how to them, hire a coach or mentor, someone that has gone through it, that's experienced, and stay patient with it, because it's very easy to want to increase quickly. So you can then go cutting phase again. But again, if you increase too quickly, don't know what you're doing, then you're actually going to get the opposite effect, where you're essentially wanting to increase your calories without that excessive weight gain or fat gain, essentially, because weight gain could happen if you're putting on muscle. But you're actually going to do the opposite. You're going to increase them so quickly and not have the patience or really know what you're doing, and you will gain fat because you won't really know what to look for, or signs to look for, when will you hit that threshold of your maintenance, so on and so forth. So again, you can get results like this, which honestly, I would say about 80% of the time it does look like this, because the women have restricted for so long that their body sees energy, finally sees the food, sees the protein, and they start moving with more intention, that their body literally says, praise the Lord, you're giving me energy, I'm going to work for you now. And it actually, you're giving more energy, you're increasing its metabolic rate, it's functioning better. So it's going to start working for you, even though you're eating more. So that's how when we say we can get women to eat more, do less, and lose weight, it is possible. So that's just one client case study. Again, we took her from 1,800 to 2,300 calories, about 4.5 months or so, 5 months. She had increased energy, a higher rate of adherence, because again, she had that mindset where she started to feel like she wanted to kind of binge. She was feeling hungrier, like she just was struggling around food again. So we got away from that. We increased her. She's now extremely adherent. She's extremely consistent with her intake, has a really healthy routine in the morning of, bumping those calories high right away. She has more food freedom from the reverse diet. Like she has more freedom in what she can actually eat. Yes, you can essentially eat whatever you want all of the time, especially when it comes to counting calories, protein, macros, whatever it looks like for you. But when you have more calories, you have more freedom with your food because you can eat more of something you do like. So there is some sacrifice, but again, that's one of the good things about reverse is just eating more food. Who doesn't like to eat more food? She was getting strong in the gym, again, therefore seeing more progress, which we talked about, improvement in her body composition. So she was gaining muscle mass while actually lowering that body fat percentage, which is, again, one of the goals during a reverse diet, slash finding that maintenance, sitting there maintenance, really recomping that body. So her weight actually went from 168 to 171. She's 5'9", 5'10", so she's actually just a little taller than me. So she's tall, lean. And she only gained 3 pounds. Is that 3 pounds? Yeah, 3 pounds but expanding her calorie intake on the daily by 500 calories. So she was eating 500 more calories every single day over the course of about 5 months, and she only gained 3 pounds. And her body composition completely changed, and she's even healthier, even though she gained weight. So that's like a reminder that the scale is bullshit. So again, 3 pounds clearly isn't fat based on her pictures, as you can see. So again, the result of this is she can now maintain the results that she has, eating over 2,000 calories daily. Or what she can do is she can decide to gain muscle mass. So she can go from sitting at that high 2,300 calories and push her right into like a really small deficit of 24, 25. She can gain muscle mass, put some good healthy meat on her bones, and then again go into a fat loss phase, lose fat and weight, but still eating 2,000 calories or more. It just depends on how body reacts. But and that's with no restriction, no elimination of food groups, zero. She's done no cardio. Like she gets probably 17 to 20,000 steps a day. She's an athletic trainer for a college. So she's on her feet 24/7. She has early mornings, late nights, but she's never set foot on a treadmill, any cardio machine. She just works out not every morning, like 4 to 5 days a week. And then she just is on her feet all day. And she's very adherent to her calories. So that's just one client. I would say again, 95% of our clients go through reverse right from the beginning if they have to. 100% of our clients go through a reverse no matter what, whether they're with us starting at a reverse or not. Their time with us, they will go through reverse. Everyone has to. Coach Kane and I have gone through multiple reverses depending on our goals. Again, it's the one thing you have to do. It's like non-negotiable if you want to maintain your results. So yeah, just thought I'd share that, guys, with you. And then Kate is actually going to go into some additional benefits of reverse dieting. Again, like what you can expect outside of the physical results, and eating more food.
Yep. So aside from eating more, obviously, and like Corey said, getting all the physical benefits, like dropping all that stress from dieting, there's a lot of other benefits that you'll notice in a reverse diet. So first and foremost is better adherence. Because like I said earlier, the longer you're in a deficit, the more likely your adherence will begin to suffer because you get hungry, you get really uncomfortable, you start to become a little more food focused. And that's to say, at least when you're doing a calorie deficit, the more extreme way, not when you're, just maintaining it in a healthier manner. But the longer you're in a deficit, the more likely your adherence begins to suffer. And you might find yourself having some untracked bites, some nibbles, some licks. You may end up just going way overboard and binging from time to time. So the caloric intake might actually be higher than what you think it is, or what you're actually reporting if you are in a longer term cutting phase, which of course is going to influence your results at that point as well. So as you increase your food intake, your hunger hormone ghrelin will actually start to decrease and start to regulate, which can help bring that hyper focus and that just almost like, I don't know the right word I'm thinking of here. I guess just hyper focus on food starts to come down because your actual hormone signaling for hunger starts to decrease as well. And it makes it much, much easier to actually adhere to whatever your caloric intake is. Because again, that caloric intake is also going to be higher at that point too. You're not on the super low calories anymore. So with that increase in adherence, some people even find that they start to they may actually be eating less calories than they were before because of all those untracked moments, going overboard on like the weekends or whatever it might be. They might find that they're getting better results, even though they're eating more, because they weren't actually being adherent enough to whatever the calories were while in that cutting phase. So another benefit is that you have way less stress. So again, the longer you stay in a deficit and the lower that you bring your calories, the more often your body kind of drops into and remains in a stressed state. And this causes cortisol levels to rise, which hinders fat loss. So if you're constantly stressed out, and this could be physical stress, this might not be stress that you actually feel mentally, but it's just inherently stressful on your body to be in a cutting phase. And then the longer you stick with it and the lower your calories get, the more stressed out your body becomes. So even if you don't feel or think that you're stressed out, if you're in a dieting phase, your body is stressed out. And so the longer you stay in that, again, cortisol starts to rise, and that can start to hinder or completely inhibit fat loss in some cases. So once those stress levels are more sustainable and cortisol can kind of level out as you're reversing, you'll start to hold on to less water. You'll let go of all that water retention, and your body can begin to lose weight and lose fat again. So that's just another thing that kind of leads into that physical progress that you can see in a reverse diet, even though you're not necessarily dieting anymore, that you're bringing your food up. So sleep can also really, really be affected by your cortisol levels. So by how stressed out you are. And once again, the longer you stay in a calorie deficit, the more that you'll notice your sleep begins to suffer, which again can inhibit your ability to actually recover from your workouts, to recover from just like daily activities and things you might be out and about doing. And without recovering properly, that can again inhibit like what your physical results are doing, what your body is looking like and feeling like. So if you're able to lower that stress and get better sleep quality, and usually better amounts of sleep, that will also help bring hunger hormones down to a minimum and influence your physical progress once again. So another benefit is that you'll have improved thyroid health and functioning. So the thyroid is a gland that controls your metabolism. It's extremely important to pay attention to and try and take care of as you can. But anybody who is chronically under eating or has been dieting for months and months on end, the thyroid begins to take a huge hit from that chronic stress on the body. And the more stress you have, the less optimally the thyroid is going to function. And this can affect your basal metabolic rate. Your basal metabolic rate is just like how many calories you're burning just on a daily basis if you weren't like controlling your food and bringing your food down to eat less and just like not adding to your activity levels. It's just what you burn at a bare minimum, just like living and breathing. So it starts to affect your basal metabolic rate, starts to bring that down. But eating more food and bringing stress down means that you have better digestion, which can also potentially mean that more nutrients for your body, or you'll have more nutrients available in your body to support healthy thyroid functioning. So that's very important to pay attention to. And then lastly, you have increased calorie expenditure, because the more you eat, the more energy you actually have. So the more you eat, you'll be able to build strength in the gym. You can push yourself harder in the gym. Both of those can really add up to burning more calories throughout the day, along with that added benefit of actually building muscle, which increases your metabolism as well. But when you're dieting, your body begins to adapt. It's called metabolic adaptation, where your body starts to adapt to the lower caloric intake and basically it starts to conserve what little energy it is getting through your food. And when it begins conserving that energy, you become less energized, and therefore, without even realizing it, you'll begin to move less. So even if you're still going to the gym, just inherently, because you have less energy available, your body's going to do whatever it can to try and preserve that energy that you are taking in. So you won't move as much. You won't feel as energized. And that can also lead into burning less calories overall. Oops, I missed. That leads to burning less calories overall naturally and during intentional movement, because you're not able to push yourself as hard. So increasing calories gives you more of that energy, which ends up helping you move more, both intentionally and unintentionally, and leads into burning more calories throughout the day. So those are some
awesome.
of the additional benefits.
Yeah. So I know that was a lot. Again, I'm actually probably going to create like a little document that has this stuff kind of broken down, and I'll probably drop the link directly in the comments. So this will be attached to this video. So you guys can also have this, you know, to resort back to and as like an additional resource. Because I know some people just learn differently. You know, I can hear things, but I also need to have it written down. So we're almost done though. So just some of the long-term benefits, which I've kind of already talked about already, and they're quick and to the point. And long-term is the most significant, important part of this. Is that's why you do a reverse. That's why you go through all the phases, you know, reverse, cutting, maintenance. If you want to put on muscle mass, you have to go through a building or like honestly a weight gain phase, muscle weight gain phase. But that long-term is the important part, because that's what a lot of women, they hit that. The resistance they hit is they're like, you know, again, I'm going to start this diet. I'm going to hit this goal. And then I hit this goal and then that's it. Long-term, forever lifestyle, long-term is starting. And then you start and then you shift your habits and your routines and everything else. So there is no end. There's just a lifestyle now. It's second nature. It's being where Kate and I used to be, which we had that mindset. We did it for a specific end goal, and finally getting to where we are now, where it's just, we don't even think about it. Like we don't sit there and say, yeah, I'm on this diet and I do this and I work out this many days. It's just like, you know, we don't talk about it because it's just our life. You know, it's like the same as you having a kid and talking about that kid every day. It's like they're part of your life now. People know that. So you don't have to talk about it all the time. That's what that's like. So long-term is the most important thing to remember this whole process. But again, just maintaining those results. Literally every single one we come to us, we have conversation with the DMs or family and friends we know, is they want those quick fix results, but then that's all they care about is getting that result for a certain thing or a certain reason. And then they think they can maintain, they want to maintain it, but they don't know how. They don't maintain results. Then they get pissed off and then they keep going to different diets and trying different things. So long-term benefits of reverse dieting, no matter how many times you go through it, because sometimes you have to do multiple phases, is maintaining those results. So you get from point A to point B, you maintain the results, those first set of results through a reverse diet. Say you want to go further, then you go through like a cutting phase again, and then you reverse to maintain those second step results. And it's kind of builds upon itself to you literally get to like a point where you're like, never thought you could be. So again, maintaining those results on higher, more realistic, sustainable calories. So again, the benefit of that is you can go on the vacations and you can enjoy the weekend barbecues and the summer beach days and the whatever, the big events that cause fear in women that they're going to gain all this excessive weight, or they restrict during, or they like do weird things at like bringing their own food and not enjoying themselves, is because you have this higher calories, you have more room to enjoy those foods without the guilt, without the worry. So it's not even just the guilt, but you don't have to worry about it because your body enjoys 2,200 calories. So you could eat 2,200 calories easily and not even think about gaining weight because your body knows it's going to intake that. So it doesn't take it as, you know, a caloric surplus. It provides you more flexibility in nutrition. Obviously, as mentioned, that the more calories you have, the more food freedom you have, the more food you can eat, the more creative you can get, the more fats you can have, so on and so forth. And then more freedom to mindfully eat. So again, that kind of plays into the, you know, if you do have an event or you have a wedding that you have to go to, or just anything where tracking that food, you don't have the opportunity to do so, or you can't weigh it or whatever, you can mindfully eat with confidence because you have that room to do so. So if you're only working with like 1,200 calories, there ain't no such thing as mindful eating, because you eat one piece of steak and you've hit that threshold already, or you eat one plate and then you want a second serving and you're probably at 1,800 calories now. So there's not even enough room to mindfully eat or make good decisions. When you have a lot of food, a lot of calories to work with, you can mindfully eat better, and it gets easier because you have that confidence that you have the room. So those are kind of like long-term results, long-term benefits. So yeah, Katie will share just a little bit more, and then we'll finish up here. And if you have any questions, if not, we'll kind of hop off and I'll leave some stuff in the comments for you guys.
So I just have one more thing to add, and this is just like an important reminder. And it's that you have to keep in mind that the goal of reverse dieting is not to lose weight. The goal of a reverse diet is to restore your metabolic rate and get your hormones back into an optimal place. It's the dieting phase that kind of takes you from the big calorie deficit to maintenance calories, like Corey said, while maintaining the results that you got during the dieting phase. So the dieting phase, the purpose of that one is to lose weight and to lose body fat. But if you want to maintain those results and be able to keep moving forward and go on to the next steps in the future, you have to do the reverse diet. And it's the whole point of it is to get you back up into a healthy place, help you maintain those results with higher caloric intake at that point. So there's sometimes going to be weight gain during a reverse. It's perfectly normal. Everybody's reverse diet journey is going to look differently. So you have to be open-minded when you're going into it. You can't expect huge physical changes. That's not what we're looking for at that point. But if you do want to maintain the results you're getting for life and do it all in a healthy way, then reverse dieting is not negotiable. You absolutely have to do it. But when it's done right with the guidance of an educated coach, a plan that is actually built and meant for you based on how your own body's responding, it can yield amazing results. So just a reminder, take that with you, and I'll let Corey wrap up.
Awesome. So yeah, I had something I was going to add to that, but I forget now. It's okay. But yeah, so hopefully you guys got some really good information from this. Again, we like to share this type of stuff and share this value and education to you guys, because this is something I didn't know about reverse dieting at all. I didn't know there's even different phases of its lifestyle or dieting or whatever you want to call it, of your nutrition when I first started. Now, honestly, the first 4 years of my journey, I just focused solely on lifting heavy, which I wasn't even lifting heavy. I thought it was, but I wasn't. But all I focused was how many times could I go to the gym and work out, and how heavy could I push? And I focused on eating like all the meat that I could. Like, it was, my mindset was so bizarre. But we've been where you are. And I wish that I had like this type of program or a coach or something to go to, because again, like, when I first started my journey 9+ years ago, fitness was big. It was getting big, especially on social media and stuff like that. But it was a lot of competition. It was a lot of competing, a lot of bodybuilding. There wasn't like these lifestyle programs that taught you everything you need to know. We have an entire 8-week course that we have every client go through when they join, because those first 8 weeks are vital. Those are when you have to learn the things you have to learn so you can sustain those results. So yeah, again, thank you guys for joining. If you feel like you resonated with this and you're like, okay, I fit this mold, I most definitely need a reverse diet, but I honestly don't want to start. I have zero confidence. I'm not sure even how to structure it. What does it look like for me as an individual? Is it sustainable to me? Or will you actually get results that you desire? Will you gain too much fat? Will you do it appropriately? So on and so forth. I'm going to do you a huge favor and leave you an application to our coaching program in the comments. So you can directly click that application link. It takes about 3 to 4 minutes, and it's just that application asks you about 6 or 7 simple questions. And then you can actually book a free discovery call with Coach Katie or I. One of us will be on that call with you. And it literally is just a call to discuss your history, discuss where you've been, where you're currently, and where you want to go. And we can help you determine if you need a reverse diet, or if you need to take a different pathway, or if you need more help that maybe we can't help you with. It just depends. So I encourage you, if you do want to get those results, learn to maintain them, finally kind of escape that toxic diet culture that you feel like you've been stuck with, or you're just overwhelmed with all the information out there. apply to the program. It's just an application. There's no obligation or anything like that. It's just a conversation we have with you. And on that call, we both determine if this is a good fit, you know, one way or the other. If you're an ideal client for the program, if you're ready to make that change, if you're committed, and if our program is actually going to help you, which I'm very confident it will. So yeah, I will go ahead and drop that link in application. And what you can do actually is when you fill the application out, it'll ask you if you were referred by somebody. If you put in reverse dieting Facebook or something like that, that it lets us know that you were attending this call, we will throw in a little special promo for you guys, a little discount into our program as well, with additional bonuses as well. So like cute team gear like this, so on and so forth. So I'll leave that there for you guys, but I do appreciate you coming. Again, this is going to live in the Facebook group with all the things in the comments. If you have comments thereafter, or you know someone that could benefit from watching this, or they've talked about kind of the things that we talked about, shoot them this way, tell them to watch this live, whatnot. And yeah, so we're going to get going, and we will continue to show up for you guys. We have a live in here or my Facebook or my Instagram page every single week moving forward. So more value to come, more education. So yeah, we will let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And that's it.
Awesome. Bye, guys.
All right.